Let's talk a little bit here in this part of the program. Prep Spotlight brought to you by Capital Sports Fieldhouse. Um, Gotta tell you, there's been some good games in this last week, whether it be on the basketball courts, the wrestling mats, or the pool. I'll start right off in the pool. Chesaning beat Ovid Elsie 122-121 in co-ed swimming. The
Wow.
Indians won the final event, the 400-yard freestyle relay, for that 1-point win. Have you guys ever attended a swim meet, a tight swim meet?
I
It's
don't remember.
exciting.
Yeah, it is. I don't remember like if it was a barn burner, but one of my sisters swam, and I had some friends that swam, at Corona or whatever. So I have gone to a few meets, and they're electric. If you've
Yeah,
got some good swimmers and stuff, everyone's cheering.
yeah.
At least at the Corona pool building, I'm sure other ones are. It's hot as hell, and you're breathing in that chlorine, and everyone's just
Mhm.
screaming their heads off. It's water splashing everywhere.
It's fun.
It is a cool event.
Yeah, no, I never have. I mean, the pool building at Corona, at least, and at other schools, I've always thought they're really cool. I mean, the
Yeah.
bleachers, old wood bleachers, sitting above
Up
the
top.
pool, watching. I've always thought it'd be a cool place to see a sporting event, but no, I never have.
Yeah, it's exciting, especially when it's a close meet for sure. Also, in girls basketball, Aubrey Rogers had 31 and 10 boards in Morris's win over Bendel, keeping it on the girls. Over the Elsie girls knocked off previously unbeaten Mackinac City at Alma College. Evelyn Cole led the way with 19 in that one. We've talked about, New Lothrop many times, how good they are in so many sports. The wrestlers won the Mid-Michigan Athletic Conference Championship. All 12 grapplers hit the podium. I mean, how
Jeez.
impressive is that? 3 first place finishes. Man, they're just dominant in wrestling. We
Yeah.
know what kind of football program they have. Just a great school when it comes to sports. Also, fellas, Chesaning stayed in a three-way tie with Durand and Ovid Elsie by downing New Lothrop Friday night. Mason struck 20 for CHS. Ty Coleman put up 30 for the Hornets and passed the 1,000-point mark. Langsburg stays unbeaten, 14-0 by downing Fowler. I mean, it's been incredible here in Mid-Michigan. You've talked about it before, Jared, about the numbers, the teams. I mean, we're having every week a couple of kids scoring over 30 points, which is it's just awesome to see. Xander Woodruff had 32 for the Pack in that one. Markel Tate had 31 in Durand's win over Mount Morris. And finally, Corunna, they're now in a tie with Goodrich in the Flint Metro after their 2-point win over Lake Fenton. Peyton Termere had a couple clutch free throws at the end for the difference there. The Cavs host Goodrich on Tuesday night, first place on the line in the Cavalier Gym. That ought to be a good one. I think I'm gonna go check that one out. It's not on our schedule to broadcast, but
That
I
might
think I'll
be a
go
good
watch
one.
that
Yeah.
one.
Go as a spectator, and
Heck yeah.
as long as you're feeling good past this cold or whatever. But
Hopefully.
yeah. No, great players, individual players, but there's some really good teams. I'm very curious to see how the postseason goes for some of these, these teams in the area. Kind of like with football. We
Right.
had some really good area football teams that we were excited to see what they did in the playoffs. So same with basketball.
One thing I did have the chance to watch, and this will tie back to Corona, is I actually had the opportunity to go see a Cass Tech basketball game this year. And a lot of people, I mean, D Zone has them as the number one team in the state. I think Goose Poop does as well. I mean, I think they're 17-0 at this point. And what I thought is really fun about watching them, they call themselves Press Tech. And for those who don't know, they actually learned their press that they run a lot better than Corona does from Corona. Way back when it was Coach Buscemi's very first year at Corona.
Really?
And I was a senior. Their head coach, Coach Steve Hall, a great coach, has coached at a few different PSL teams, won everywhere he's went. Now he's, got the ultimate program at Cass Tech. He would come to all of our, practices and, scrimmages during the summer and learned it. And then actually Cass Tech came to a couple of our practices my senior year, their very first year running it. And what was funny was we ran this thing this whole summer, and Cass Tech had just started learning it. And as soon as they came in the gym, we were playing each other, running the same thing. They're immediately better than us at it. So I kind of thought that was sort of funny that we taught them and they immediately were better. But they're 17-0 this year. They call themselves Press Tech, as I said, and they're all, 6'3", 6'4". They don't really have any, big, tall guys. They all can run. They're deep. I mean, I think they're ninth guy is the star football player I told you guys about in the fall, Corey Sadler, junior freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, SEC football player already has these offers. That's their ninth guy off the bench in a pressing defense. I mean, You can imagine how impressive that press is. But what I loved, and Ted, what you'd especially would love, Cass Tech's gym. It is awesome. I love Cass Tech's school. I mean, it's kind of half old, 1960s, and then it's half new with all the glass all around it. And they have this old school gym right in the middle of this kind of newly restructured school. And it's got, the bleachers on all four sides, wooden
I love that.
bleachers. They have the track around the top, and then they have, a glass like overlook with tables and like a lobby area that you can watch the game. I mean, it is awesome. That's the first kind of Detroit high school basketball game I've seen. And it was just quite an atmosphere. It was awesome.
Is the gym, do you know, Jared? I mean, you went there. Is the gym, I don't know is it new, or is the gym the original gym from, back when they built the school?
There's photos. The court, I think it's the same exact court that they've had since like the 19. Yeah, that's what it's like they kept this gym that was built in like the 1950s, and then they just built a brand new school all around it and put this gym in the center of it. I mean, when the gym's in the middle of the school, it's awesome, man. I mean, you have to walk through all these hallways to get to it. It's really cool. Ted, if somehow, some way you can expand your coverage area, I mean, that's one to check out for sure.
I'd love to. And it's basically in the heart of Detroit, right? I mean, it's
coolest location of a school in the entire state.
That's awesome. I will tell you this. I love that kind of field house is what I call it. I wish Corunna's gym, they would have done that when they built it, where you have the upper level with the track and then have stands all four sides of it. I mean, Williamson has a great one. There's a couple other. Fowlerville. I call Fowlerville the Coliseum. I mean, it's one of the coolest gyms I've ever been in.
Yeah. It is cool. The bleachers all around for a high school environment is fun. Speaking of that, I know it's probably been a while, but Corunna's home audience, I guess now, sits on the other side of the gym than like back when I played.
Yeah, they switched it up.
Yeah, whenever I see that, clips on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, it still kind of weirds me out. I'm just used to the home crowd being on the far side of the gym, but
yeah, I never did find out what the philosophy was when that change was made. So again, I failed in my homework, fellas. But
I believe it was the concession stand. They built the brand new concession stand that was on that's on the other side of the gym, so that's why they changed it.
That's right, because I do remember when Jared was a young fella, carried a little bit more weight at that time. I remember, when they said 2-for-1 hot dogs. He went running over there.
You say that, and I feel like that's just like a figment of your imagination. I don't remember that. And how about you?
I broadcasted it right on the air. I said, "There goes my nephew."
I mean, that's pretty evil, man. I mean, you're a 60-year-old man commenting on what a 10-year-old kid is doing at that time. I mean, hey, would not my cup of tea as a broadcaster.
Sorry. Well, nobody said I had to be. But it was fun.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, by the way, you guys had talked about it one time. We'll wrap this up, about maybe an all Castle or all 3-point podcast team in our area as far as high school basketball players. I just jotted down a few players, from the games that I broadcast this year that would definitely be all 3-point pod. That'd be Xander Woodruff of Langsburg, Ty Coleman of New Lothrop, who, hit the 1,000 mark and has been over 30 points multiple times. Mason Struck for Chesaning. Corunna's Brevin Belor, man, 3-point specialist, just fills it up. Clay Wittenberg of Ovid Elsie, and, Wyatt Bauer also having a nice season. You talked, Jared, about, Cass Tech. Corunna, unfortunately, they have Hamady in the district, but they have a good team, good chance to win a conference championship, and they play that pressing style, and they go 9-10 deep on the bench, which is conducive to being effective when you're going to a full court press.
Yeah, I would say they kind of the similar style. Cass Tech, they don't really have a true center. They have, the two Bauer twins, which I think one is Tarek is actually injured right now, fortunately. But yeah, they kind of have the same sort of style as Cass Tech, which is perfect for a pressing team where, a couple athletic, bigger guys like the Bauer brothers, and, they can press anyone.
Absolutely. Also, a couple others, Gabe Lina Duran and Carson Peters of St. John. So by the end of the season, got to narrow it down to 5 first teamers, but we'll see how it goes. We'll have, this has been the Prep Spotlight brought to you by Capital Sports Fieldhouse, and we'll be checking in with Reggie Walker right after these messages.
Capital Sports Fieldhouse is the home of hit and pitch and a whole lot more. The 10,000 square foot turf field can be used for all indoor sports training, including football, baseball, basketball, softball, soccer, and many other activities. Hit and Pitch has 7 indoor batting cages with full pitching tunnel and the state-of-the-art Hit Tracks training system utilized by MLB organizations. Located in the old Capitol Bowl J.C. Penney block on South Washington in Owasso, Michigan. For more details, call Capital Sports and Hit and Pitch at 989-472-4624 or online at capitalsportsfh.com.